Hi, everybody. I know I haven't posted any videos in a while, so first of all, this is my face. Um, for a really long time, I was nervous about putting too much information about myself out on this channel because I was concerned about doxing. I'm not worried about that anymore because of some things that happened in my professional life. I was doxed to shirt, as they would say on The Good Place. Not worried about putting my face out there anymore. There are going to be more videos of me talking to camera like this in the future. So it's not going to be all me talking to camera, but there's going to be more of it. Speaking of my future videos, I'm going to start making them again. The problem I was having with my old videos and my old format was that it was very time consuming and didn't really fit well into my other obligations that I had. So I am going to start making videos that are shorter and more focused, and see how that goes. Just to give you an idea, like the Tradcath video that I did that got like 100 views, um, that took me about 15 to 20 hours of research over the course of a little over a month, and that's a topic with which I was very familiar. But even with that, I still had to go back and reread books I'd read a long time ago. I needed to fill in some gaps in my knowledge. I needed to do all the other stuff. And that's before you even get to video editing or recording or anything else like that. So it just wasn't working out. And I had ambitious ideas for other plans that I wanted to do, but honestly, as much as I was dying to do them, it just, the combination of the research required and the skills that were required that I didn't have as a one person channel, and my ADHD brain and everything else like that just didn't really facilitate good high quality videos about the topics that I wanted to cover, and also keep the view count going. So I'm going to be doing that. I am also going to be doing more videos on current events. Some jelly beans. The one thing Ronald Reagan wasn't wrong about. Um, so I guess that's a good segue for me to say, if you really can't stand my politics, then I don't know how you got through my other videos. So, I try to be fair. I try to keep it to things that are verifiable. But I mean, obviously my politics are my politics. I've never made any bones about that one way or the other. It's not, my videos aren't agenda driven, but, I think that there's a certain viewpoint out there. Not necessarily that I have that viewpoint that, into 100% condensed perfection, but I do think there is a certain viewpoint of world events out there that is more correct. And so, with everything that's going on, I want to do more current events content. A lot of that's still going to contain the historical stuff, but because history is the lens through which I derive context in life. So there's still going to be some historical stuff in there for sure. And it's still going to link into the other things that I'm doing. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, along with the history stuff, that is pushing narratives that are just completely BS. And I want to be able to do something about combating that. And political writing, which is something that I'm very accustomed to, only gets you so far on those things. This is the format, so that's what I want to delve into. So expect more of that in the future. I guess the next thing that I am interested in doing involves media that helped shape my worldview and the way that, the way I saw things when I was growing up. And that's going to be movies, TV shows, even, like some music stuff. I'm a big music head. A lot of people who don't know me very well wouldn't guess that, but I am. So, and just like talk about how I experienced it, the context that it came from. It's not history, but it kind of is, because a lot of it is going to be kind of reviewing a moment in time, which of course is my lifetime. There are going to be some things from before that, I'm sure, if I do decide to do this, but most of this is going to be stuff that came around in my lifetime. And the reason I wanted to do this, so there are kind of two things that are going on for me personally right now. The first one is that I wanted to start making some videos for my nephews who kind of live just far away enough that it's not exactly convenient for me to go there a lot, but close enough that they're not like completely out of my life. So if anything does happen to me, I would like them to be able to learn something from my experiences and my wisdom that I can offer them, or maybe sometimes lack of wisdom that I can offer them, when it's age appropriate for them. And so I started making those, and of course I'm not going to post that on this channel, but that kind of has me thinking about some of these things that, with my youth and everything, and how these media things kind of shaped me. And what are these things I'm talking about? Movies that I probably am going to cover would be like Glory. Glory is a big one for me. Battlestar Galactica is another one that I was thinking of, the 2004 version. Just stuff like that. And not doing like nostalgia critic reviews, like genuine, well thought out, sincere thoughts about these things and their place and in their time and kind of what they meant. If you have any ideas, for anything that you'd like me to cover, and it's something that I could cover, send those along, because if it's something that is part of my soul, if I will, then I'll be happy to cover it and sort of bump it along in the queue or however that's going to work. But yeah, so that's the videos I want to make for my nephews kind of got me on that. The other thing too is that I'm in my early 40s now, and it doesn't seem, normally you would share these things with your kids and with your spouse, and talk about, do this exchange of with your spouse, you exchange different things that are important to you, in terms of TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And you talk about, in an adult way, what they mean to you. And then, with your kids, when the time is right, you introduce them to this stuff, and you give them your perspective, and then you ask them what they think about it, and you kind of talk it through, and that's how you sort of pass on these experiences. And it doesn't look like that's ever going to be an option for me, just to be honest. So, I don't hold much confidence right now that that things are going to turn around, and I am getting older. I mean, like right now, the last time it's been almost a year now since the last time I thought someone was seriously romantically interested in me. And that turned out to be a mistake, and it alienated her and, or alienated, I don't know how you'd say that, alienated us, I guess. You know, so that's, you know, the last time I was able to convince myself of that, it did not end well. And there's been nothing since then. And that's a situation where I should have known better. Because, you know, she's a lot younger than me, and not like scandalously, you know, but, you know, I should have known that it wasn't going to come off well. And this is just kind of, but, since then, nothing has come up. And it's not like I had a lot going on. Before that, COVID really destroyed my dating life, which was already hanging on a thread before that anyway. So this is all a rambling way of me saying that, you know, I don't think things are going to change anytime soon. And so I want to be able to pass, you know, my experiences and have these conversations with other people, both who are like around my age, but also, you know, younger folks, and talk to them. And I know that there are some people who would see this and be like, yeah, like, whatever, unk. But some of you guys need an unk. You know, I worked for CYF for a while, and there are a lot of bad influences out there for young men right now, and not a lot of good ones. Not a lot of ones that are, you know, reaffirming and nurturing and encourage young men to like really think about themselves, you know, in a good way, and think about the world in a good way. You know, despite the fact that I have not been lucky in love, you know, I think it's you know, the extremely derogatory attitudes towards women that are based off of not getting what you want out of them are very prevalent these days, and something that we need to combat. You know, my problems are my problems, but I don't make that everybody else's problem. And I think we need to, if honestly, if I had had that kind of tutelage when I was younger, then I wouldn't have spent my entire 20s being completely undateable. So, you know, and not that like everything was wrong with me or anything else like that, but I had some problems that I had to work through. And if I can, you know, create an environment where I can help men who are younger than me work through those problems, then great. And women too. Like, you know, it's an unfortunate thing that History channels tend to be very male dominated, as are a lot of current events channels. But, you know, hopefully you have some women watching. So that's what I'll be looking to do with all of that. Yeah, it's just like I'm at a weird age right now where I am, I'd said this to somebody the other day, I'm simultaneously younger and older than I feel like, because, you know, I am in my early 40s, and, you know, and I don't have a family life. I don't really have a home life. You know, while I have good supportive friends, a lot of them have their own things that are going on. And frankly, some of, you know, my best friends for the last 15 years are moving on with their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, they have families, they're trying to build families, and I don't begrudge them at all, but it is a thing that's happening. So like the younger part of me, because I don't have the part of me that feels like I'm younger than I am, you know, because I don't have the family, and because I don't have those responsibilities, I'm out doing things that tend to put me around a lot of people who are like 10 years, 13 years, whatever, younger than I am. Um, and so I sometimes forget, going back to that example that I was talking about earlier, with that person that I had known for a while, and probably should have been, probably should not have convinced myself that, that she would be into an old man like me. Um, you know, that is, that's on the one hand, but then on the other hand, because I don't have family to look to, because I don't, because I don't have a partner to be with and to manage my life with, and because I don't have kids to take care of, and the stuff that goes along with that, being involved in school and everything, and because I don't have them to pass my life and my experiences on to, I end up thinking about death a lot, and making sure that I have some sort of contribution to all of this before I leave. And that's not like a vainglorious thing or I want to make my mark. It's just more of a recognition that everybody's time is limited, and I probably have like 30 more years left, at least statistically speaking, barring nothing bad happening. But I want to do as much as I can now to improve the world as it is, because that's the best contribution that any of us can make, is to find those little things that we can do and do the good things that take the good options that are available to us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I have been thinking a lot about that, and how I want to work with that, use what I have to do that little extra good. So, that's where this whole thing is coming from, I guess, and the drive that I'm going to take into it when we start. The fourth project that I'm going to be working on, which also, this is not going to be linked to this channel at all, but I'm working with some folks that I know to record some oral histories of the community around where I live. The area of Pittsburgh that I live in is very heavily gentrified or gentrifying. So because of the steel collapse in the 1970s and 80s, which involved a lot of other industries moving out of the region and a lot of people with them, basically like Gen X Pittsburgh is decimated, because of white flight, and now because of the gentrification. The history of a lot of these neighborhoods is being lost, and the people who are left to remember those stories from 60, 70 years ago because they happened to them or because their parents told them about them, those are gone. And so I've been working with some folks to kind of put together some recording sessions where we can talk with some people about the history of Bloomfield and Lawrenceville and the surrounding areas, so we can get that down. And I know there's a lot of tension between old residents and new residents. That's not what this is about, and that's not the type of thing that I'll be trying to fuel. Though, I always welcome people into the city, but my stated position when people have asked me has always been, we need to do more to take care of the people who are already here and are already residents of the city, instead of allowing outsiders, trying to appease outsiders to guide our thinking. And then when we make the city great for the people who already are residents of the city, then more people will want to come in. That's how that should work. But it's not to cause conflict. It's just because I that's a passion of mine, to make sure that these things don't die out. So that's not going to be on this channel either. That would be on a separate channel, but I would certainly going to link to that if that's something that people think they would be interested in. So I think that's everything. It's good being back. I'm going to have some things releasing here soon. There are a couple of topics that I'm already interested. I already have things written up for. One of them is a little brief blurb on Oscar Romero, if folks are familiar with him, and sort of the reality behind how Christianity is often expressed in America, and how that all works. And then there are a bunch of other things too, but I don't know why I'm talking about that now, because it kind of spoils the whole thing. But that's coming up. So if anybody wonders what's going on here, so this is my study, and that's just like a nook of religious things, because I am interested in that sort of thing. But there are other things around here that are a bit more, normal. So, but yep, that's it, everybody. So have a good day and take care, and hopefully we can get moving together.